Yeah, it's time to move on. It's time to get going. What lies ahead, I have no way of knowing. But under my feet, baby, the grass is growing. Yeah, it's time to move on. It's time to get going. Okay, this is the 5th video in the series of 7 about how I established Domicile in South Dakota. This is just meant to chronicle the steps that I went through. It's not meant to be legal advice. I'm not trying to advise you as to the legalities of what you need to do. You need to research those for yourself. But this does chronicle the steps that I took. And this video is the 5th video, as I said, but it is the 4th step in the process that I delineate. It's how to get your driver's license in South Dakota and what you'll need to do. So let's get on with it. Okay, so once you're in Google, in the search window, type in South Dakota. And you'll see that what popped up on mine is South Dakota driver's license. That's because I've done this search a couple of times. If yours doesn't come up with that, just type in driver's license and we'll move on from there. Then this takes us and shows this particular website URL. It's the Department of Public Safety.southdakota.gov, and we're going to double click that. And you see it took us directly to that site for driver's licensing. Now, what we're going to want to concentrate on is the left side of the screen as we scroll down. We're going to scroll down to required documents. I'm going to highlight that and double click it, and that's going to take us to the next page that'll show us what we need to know. And here it'll show the documents we need that are required for driver's license and ID card documents. Now, this is split into 2 sections. One is for renewals only, and that's not the section that we're going to concentrate on, but of course you can read it and take a look at it. It's this section, new applicants and transfers from out of state, that we're interested in. And you'll notice there are 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, and I want to talk just briefly about each of the paragraphs. First paragraph talks about why, first of all, they can only accept original documents, no photocopies. So you need to have something that shows some document that shows your proof of lawful status. The main thing that they want is a birth certificate, if you have that, and they'll talk about the kinds that you can have of that, or a passport. And then there are other documents that they talk about that you could bring if you need to. But again, no photocopies, you need to have that. Then the second one has to do with the ID that you're going to be surrendering to the South Dakota DMV. If new applicants or transfers from another state and your current driver's license does not have the gold star in the upper corner, that means that it's not a real ID, then you're going to have your Social Security card, or you're going to have a W-2, something that has your name and your Social Security number on it for them. And again, no photocopies. It has to be an original. My ID was a real ID and had the star on there, but since I had my Social Security card anyway, they just went ahead and scanned both of those into their database, and that was fine. So the third paragraph talks about what we've talked about in the last 2 videos, how to get the 2 receipts that you need. One that shows your actual physical address from the mail forwarding service, and the second has to do with having that information and your name on a receipt from a campsite, a hotel, or something like that. So we've already talked about that. Again, no photocopies or handwritten stuff works. They have to all be official. So those are the documents that you need. Check it out for yourself. I started this process on a Thursday, and I was able to get the first 2 steps done. Mail forwarding service taken care of, and a physical address. And also, because I went to the KOA campground, paid for my stay, I got the receipt before actually staying there that showed that I had spent the night, and it had my new address on it, my name, my new address on it. So now I have both pieces of evidence that I need to go to the next step, which is step 4, which is getting my driver's license. So one thing that I found out is that in this state, there's not just one office, there's not just one DMV that takes care of vehicle registration and driver's licenses like there are in many states, in the states that I'm familiar with. The state issues your driver's license, and the county where your domicile is, they're the ones that will register your vehicles. And we'll talk about that in the next video. But I had to find one of these driver's license testing bureaus, and Lynn at the South Dakota Residency Center was able to help me with local knowledge. I was in Spearfish, of course, that's where that office is, and she said that driver's license testing office for Spearfish is open on Friday, the next day, but the one in Sturgis is open today. So Sturgis is a few miles away, so I decided, well, I'll just go ahead and go over to Sturgis and see if I can get in there. Another thing that I discovered is because they're separate entities, the county and the state that do the things that you normally have the Department of Motor Vehicles do, I found that the state driver's license testing place normally do not have their own standalone building. They're normally adjoined to some other building that's there. And this one happened to be adjoined to the community center in Sturgis. So when I walked in, the first room that I walked into, there was an elderly woman that was being helped with her paperwork and such by a man, not someone who worked there, someone that came with her. I noticed at least 4 signs that say an appointment is necessary. So I decided I'll go ahead and do my paperwork and that, and it wasn't busy. There was only this woman, and there was another man that was ahead of her. He was already in getting his driver's license stuff taken care of when I got there. And there was only one employee working. There were 2 stations, but only one employee. Another employee was on break. So it was going to take a little bit of time. But I filled out my paperwork as best I could. And I decided, well, I'm going to wait until there's a lull between people just to see if I can ask the question about. After I saw the sign, I got on the website and I checked. And the earliest appointment that was available, but it was well over 30 days out from the day that I was there. And that was just discouraging. I waited. When the woman went in, I just walked in and I sat down in one of the spare chairs that was there, kind of waiting. And by the time that the woman got done, I had been in this building about 20 minutes. So I was able to fill out my form and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting and I think, this is my chance now. I can get up and ask the question. And the woman who worked there just said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Sure." And so I walked right up. And she never mentioned anything about an appointment, nothing like that. She just made sure that I had all the stuff there. I was able to ask about the motorcycle endorsement that I really didn't want to carry over, but since it was Sturgis, I thought, well, I'll keep a motorcycle endorsement if I can. And so I just thought I would ask the question, how difficult is it to just, to have that endorsement? And she basically said, "Oh, no big deal, just check the box." So basically what they do is they take whatever endorsements and such you have from the driver's license that you bring in, and they roll them over into South Dakota. There are no additional tests. There's no additional paperwork. Nothing else needs to be done. I'm an organ donor, so that was marked on there. The one other piece of information that you have to give them is there's an affidavit that you have to sign and check mark that first of all says that you are a resident, that you will be a resident traveling, and that when you are done with your traveling that you intend to come back and settle in the state. There's no time limit on that, so you can travel for whatever number of years. It's rather vague, but it does give the intent that you intend to come back and be a resident in South Dakota. So the only test that was required was an eye test, and I wear glasses, but I'm not required to wear glasses to drive. So of course I decided not to take the test without my glasses. So I did, and I had a bit of a struggle on the outside edges and like that. And I had to guess on a couple of them, do an educated guess. And she said, "Well, that's good." And that was fine. And so I have my license. I'm not required to wear glasses, even though I wear them all the time now anyway. Everything rolled over. And they took a photo of me as I look today, with my glasses on, with my beard, with all this. It was actually a rather nice photo compared to the last one that I got in Nevada, where the computer kept saying that my eyes were closed. So when I finally got my picture taken, it looks like I'm holding my eyes open with toothpicks, and it looked really creepy. So anyway, this is not necessarily a creepy, at least it's not creepy to me. So the whole process ended up taking less than half an hour. It was very simple, very smooth. They printed my driver's license right then. It's a real ID. So, got everything that I need on it there. One thing about the address, though, is that it does show the PMB, or postal mailbox, and I mentioned that in one of the other videos. That can have some restrictions on certain things that you might want to buy or certain activities you might want to do, and you'll need to check up on that. But I'm fine for everything that I need to do. So it cost less than $30. It didn't take that long to do.
And so I'm ready to head on to the next stage, which is to register my vehicles, because as of right now, I am a legal resident of South Dakota. I have my driver's license to prove it. Far away from your trouble.